Did you hear that?
Yep.
All right. Hi. Good evening, good morning, wherever you are. I am Luna fucking Rose, and this is Recovery in the Raw. Um, some of you that have subscribed to the channel already know what this channel is about. Um, for those of you that do not, this is a platform where real recovering addicts share their experience, strength, and hope. We feature one or more speakers each week, or try to anyway. I've been a little lax in that. Whose story will be recorded over the weekend. Graphic language is permitted. In the meantime, we encourage you to leave your comments. We upload daily readings with captioning provided as an option of the daily JFT and SPAD recordings from Narcotics Anonymous. Although we are not affiliated with NA or any other 12-step fellowship approved literature is permitted. Just remember this is your recovery and they're all. Um, this seventh tradition of NA does not apply to this podcast. However, donations are accepted to cover the upkeep and maintenance of the channel. Any remaining funds beyond expenses will be sent to a recovery nonprofit organization. If you want to speak, we would love to hear your story. Or if you would like to donate, please send either request to recovery in the raw 2050 at gmail.com. And thank you and many blessings to all. And today I have with me Cait. And Cait, her pronouns are she, they. And she's come on to share her story. And it's been a while since I've done an interview, so I think it's due time. Um, so without further ado, I'd like to introduce Cait. Wait,
Hey, y'all.
1 second. Everyone, here's Cait. All right, there
Thank
we go.
you.
I had to get it fixed. All right, go ahead.
Thank
Cait,
you.
just introduce yourself right now. Tell us what your clean time is, that kind of thing, and then we'll get into your story.
My name is Cait, and I'm definitely a grateful recovering addict today. I have 3 months and 24 days, 26 days, something like that, or 116 days of clean time right now.
Congratulations to you. Um,
Thank you.
and I've seen your progress myself, and I've seen a big change. And as I see a big change in anyone who works the program um, of recovery. So,
I appreciate it.
Cait, if you will, tell us about your birth, I guess, and what that entailed.
So, from birth, from womb, my mom, she used while she was pregnant with me. And I was born with a birth defect called frontal encephalocele, which means my brain right here was poking out into a knot, and the bridge of my nose and my forehead didn't fuse together like it should have. So there was technically a hole in my skull causing my brain to push out of it. Um, they had to go in and do multiple surgeries to fix it. Piece of my rib bone is actually there now to hold it there. And they had to cut open into my head. You can't see it because of my headphones, but I've got a big scar going across my head, and I've got a scar right here. And from then on, it was difficult. There was, my mom and dad divorced when I was 4 years old. My mom was still using after I was born. My dad had stopped. And excuse me. And I just never really had a stable home life growing up past that. So, I mean, I had to watch my mom use, and it kind of tore our relationship apart. We never spoke. We don't have a relationship because of it.
Okay. I was born into the disease of addiction as well. Um, and I know that plays a big role in your future progress in life. It definitely delayed me.
Yeah,
And I'm sorry you you didn't even have a chance before you started, and that's how I felt. Um, being born into addiction, I didn't even have a chance. um,
right.
and you got to live with it. You got to live with it, and it took me a long time to mature. And I'm not sure about for you. How was your school years, childhood? How was that?
So school starting, it wasn't bad. Like my younger years in school up until about third grade, I would say it wasn't bad. And then the bullying started. Um, I was heavily bullied because, I've always had short hair ever since I could remember. I was diagnosed at a young age with a stress disorder called trichotillomania, which basically, in layman's terms, a stress disorder that makes me pull my hair out, literally. Um, the bullying continued. I actually started drinking alcohol at 6 years old because my mom left it out. And, any normal kid would steer away from it. Not me though. My dumb ass was like, "Oh, this is good. I want more." And so every time she would leave her stuff out, I would steal it. And I would end up that's how that addiction started.
And that continued for
And it
how
continued
long?
and progressed from there.
How long did
Up
that
until
continue?
recently.
Yeah.
Up until recently when I got back into recovery. Um, that's why I have the 3 months and some odd days under my belt now, is because of this program. But back to childhood, I started smoking at the age of 12, marijuana.
What I mean is, like,
Uh,
from that point where you were stealing alcohol and doing this stuff, how long did that continue?
a few years, like I said, up until I was at least 12, and I moved out.
You moved out at 12?
And yeah, to live with my grandmother. My grandmother raised me after that. So it pretty much stopped at that point. Um, and then I started smoking marijuana and cigarettes at 12 and 13 years old. Um, that side of my family, a lot of them are alcoholics. So I was pretty much raised around it. I was raised around, social drinking, which turned into a problem for me.
And
And by the time I graduated high, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
your family, it was unbalanced as well, right? And you have how many siblings? How many of there is you?
I have, there is 9 of us all together, not all biological. Um, I have 5 brothers and 3 sisters. Um, all the older ones have dealt with addiction in their own sense. But with me, I always felt like something wasn't right. And I feel like that's why I kind of padded it with addiction to escape that.
Okay, and in your time up to young adulthood, it, you we had talked earlier that you um, I brought up COVID, um, and how that may have played a impact on the increase of your use. Like you may have found recovery at 19, which we had talked about. You found recovery then, but there was 4 lapses within a 10-year time. But also,
Yeah.
leading up to COVID, how bad did your drug use increase?
So from the time I was 19 to the time that COVID hit, I was using methamphetamine and pain pills and any type of pill I could get my hand on to escape, right? A year later, I was in the hospital because I almost blew up my heart with a needle because my grandmother walked in on me using and saw me using. Um, from then on, it was just excessive drinking, excessive partying, excessive drinking. When COVID hit and we were in the lockdown, I was also in an extremely abusive relationship. So I was downing at least 5 fifths a night of what is called Captain Morgan Cannon Blast, at least those. Um, I was a
And
very huge partier.
and on top of that, you had also spoken, prior before like that relationship that you had experienced some sexual abuse as well, um, and PTSD
Growing
and
up, yes.
trauma, yeah, from those
Yeah.
experiences.
From the time I was 14 to 17, my grandfather molested me, and nobody believed me when I told them, not even the person that was raising me, because it was her husband, um, which had a really big impact on me, especially with relationships, intimate relationships. Intimate relationships are extremely hard for me because I can't, like, I'm trying to find the word. I can't emotionally regulate how I feel. So when I feel triggered, I shut down or I split. Um, basically, after that, I ended up going to a place called Job Corps, and I was not allowed to come back and live there ever again. So I was practically blamed. Um, along with when I was in the midst of drinking, there have been multiple times where I was sexually assaulted, drugged, raped, you name it. You name it happened.
That's a,
Um,
that's a shame. If I may, real quick, that's a shame that you experience some of that stuff, and I think a lot of addicts. Within the fellowship of recovery, a lot of addicts, they've all experienced that kind of shit. I myself was, sex trafficked, and as you said, had a madam, and it was some fuck shit. I was always drugged, and that wasn't that was recently. That was maybe a year or so ago, and it fucked my life. About 2 years, something like that. But it screwed me, and going through that kind of PTSD and trauma can deeply affect your mental health, and will always affect your mental health thereafter because of triggers, so on, so forth, and the other.
yeah. And then when I got pregnant with my daughter at the end of 2017, right before New Year's, I found out I was pregnant with my first daughter. So I stopped. I stopped drinking because I didn't want to hurt the baby. The only thing I was doing at that time was smoking cigarettes because the doctor told me if I quit completely, it could harm my baby. So they just told me to wean down, which I did. I listened to everything they said. Um, I ended up having her, and my her biological father ended up abusing her and shaking her so hard he almost killed her behind my back, and then lied to me about it for a week until he got arrested for it. She had 9 fractured ribs, bleeding in her brain, and bleeding behind her eyes at 2.5 months old. So she did get taken from me and him both, but I should have gotten her back. I got screwed by the system in a sense. They put my classes too far from me to where I could even get to them. I don't get to see her. I only get pictures of her, and that's when I get on Facebook to even find them and hunt them down. I have no contact with my family at all. Um, but she's still a big part of my recovery, and she's still a big reason of why I'm doing what I'm doing because I want to be around to see my kid. I want her to come find me. I want her to have a relationship with me. I want to break that generational curse. And shortly after that is when all the abusive relationships started, that it became a pattern. I was just looking for love in all the wrong places and addiction was there with it. So, but when I was 19, how I got addicted to meth and pain pills, I'm going to go back to this real quick because I didn't get to say this earlier. Me and my partner at the time had gotten into a fight. So I went in my bedroom and I locked the door and I just went to bed. Well, my door was one of those you could pop open with a butter knife. It wasn't that hard to get in my bedroom. And I woke up with a needle stuck in my arm without my consent. And all I did was sit up and I said, "What the fuck was that? Give me more," because that felt good. And that's how what I promised myself I would never touch, how that addiction started. The pain pills were from doctors. I have a herniated disc in my back from being a certified nurse aide at a young age, and my back twisted in both directions, and that disc herniated. So I was prescribed pain pills at a young age, and it went from there. And this doctor didn't have a problem with giving them to me every 30 days or more so often.
Yeah,
So
but
that's
but
where
but
that started.
again, but again, now that we know recovery, um, it's up to us on whether or not we abuse those medications, whether or not
Right.
we take it way more than as prescribed. Um,
Right.
and now there's protocols there where you can't get X and X filled between this time and that time.
Which
Because
I'm
of
happy
that.
about that. Which I'm happy about that. Um, and it's been very hard. It led to homelessness, especially the past 10 years, multiple relapses. Life's been hard. I wasn't dealt a very great deck of or hand of cards, you could say.
But now you've discovered a
Um,
gift of choice, right?
mhm.
You
And
know, and
freedom.
right, and you've been in recovery for quite some time now, and I do want to talk about how the program of recovery really plays a significant part in an addiction's or in an addict's head. You know what I mean? It plays a crucial role
Yeah, I
in
know.
the mental stability in someone's life. I think
I
who are addicts.
Yeah, yeah, we're addicts and we're always going to be addicts. I know I'll be an addict for life.
It's a
I will
disease
never be
that
able to
never.
control any of it. It never ends. It
Yeah,
never ends.
right, right, never ends. And the
And
treatment is and or what the treatment is it's in a recovery program for addicts. That's the gateway to success. It's either life or death for most of
yeah,
us. Um, and I sure as shit don't want to experience that um, myself. And you said that you've recently just found your sponsor. How do you feel um, communicating with your sponsor? Does that help you propel in your everyday life?
oh yeah, I love my sponsor. I've known my sponsor for quite a while. When I first met her, she was actually in recovery herself. And I've known her since COVID, since a little after COVID started. Um, she's amazing and she's a big pillar in my recovery. This program has saved my life, but this program has saved my life.
Correct.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. I'm so sorry. My
Mhm.
roommate was telling us what was for dinner, telling me what was for dinner.
Oh, okay.
I'm so sorry. Like he didn't know we
Yeah,
were in an
it's
interview,
okay.
and I was just like, oh shit.
It's okay.
But anyway, I gotta
Yeah,
order some
it's okay.
food
It's
too.
okay.
So, but anyway, yes. Being
This
being in recovery, it's a lifeline. It's a lifeline,
it
and
really
and
is.
and the
It really
connection
is.
with your sponsor. And here's the thing: the connection with your sponsor. I've heard this many times, and I've said it myself. If you don't say that you have the best sponsor in the world, well, then you need to find another sponsor. But here's the catch 22
My
to that,
sponsor's amazing.
huh?
My
Yes,
sponsor is
yes.
amazing.
So here's the catch 22 to that is that like you know that sponsor can be good for you at that time and be the best sponsor in the world at that time for you. But that doesn't say that you always have to stick with that sponsor. I've heard of many people, letting their sponsor go and finding a new sponsor and this, that, and the other because you can find a sponsor that adheres to your moment or your place and time and let it
I've
work
had to
for
do
you.
that. I've had to do that. This is my second sponsor in the program. My first sponsor I had to let go because of a conflict of interest with an old roommate. So I went and found my own way.
And yeah, so uh, um, now how involved are you in your recovery?
I'm extremely involved. I am actually of service in in the rooms. I am starting to learn how to, co-host, be of service, things like things of that nature. I'm steadily learning how to help people in the right direction, giving resources, things like that that were given to me because the only way that we can help the newcomer is to give away the tools that we have, you know, and that's what I live by. And principles over personality is a big thing for me. So with that, like I always try to remember principles over personalities because I don't like treating people like shit. I'm
No,
not that person, and that is not my heart.
no, and I don't think anyone should be treated like shit, whether in or out of recovery,
Right.
even in everyday life. For people who are addicts, this the I think the 12 steps are good for anybody. But like
Oh yeah.
the same goes for if people aren't addicts, they have church and so on and so forth. But it's about one Christian helping another, or one addict helping another, or one, you know what I mean?
One addict helping another is without parallel.
Right.
And if it weren't for this program, my higher power and my support system, I don't know where I'd be. Honestly, I'd probably be dead.
Right. I would be too. I would be too. Um, you know, this program of recovery has definitely changed my life in such a positive way. But
Oh yeah.
it only goes that way if we put in the work. You know what I mean? It's not just gonna happen itself.
If you want what we have to give and are willing to make the effort to get it, I mean, it says it in our basic stuff. So, like, you just have to have the willingness to do what you need to do to get where you want to be and
And
have
that's
that
anyone in
mindset
life.
of, I can fucking do this.
That
Yeah, but especially in recovery, though, you got to have the mindset of, I can fucking do this.
and again, I always
You
like to
can't just
remind.
sit there in victimization mode.
Right, right. You're not going to help yourself then. And I always tell people, and this is one of the biggest phrases that I love, and I think I'm actually going to get it tattooed on myself somewhere. But it's progress, not perfection. You know what I mean? We're
This is
humans.
a minor setback to a major comeback.
Right.
Minor setback to a major comeback. I get that.
I mean, we're human and we're flawed, and we will never, never reach perfection, no matter how hard we try, because there's no such thing in the human realm, and there's no
Right.
such thing as perfect.
Or normal.
You can say something's perfect, but it's not actually perfect.
No, nothing is ever perfect. No one is perfect.
And, I myself experienced PTSD and trauma. I was jumped and assaulted by 30 bikers, sustained a left orbital eye fracture. They crushed this part of my skull, and I have a titanium plate there.
Hmm.
I was in two major accidents where I rode SUVs. I did BMX. I did football from second grade to junior year, and my body went through a shit ton, but then that added to it, and then I fought in jail, and all this kind of thing. But I'm telling you, if it wasn't for this program, I might have stewed in all that bullshit and died.
Right. Yeah, I get that. It's same here. Like in high school, in middle school, I was in basketball, volleyball, softball. I went into nursing at a young age, and it just messed up my body to the point where like I said it before, I got addicted to some pain pills, which I shouldn't have, but I did. And it's our choice to put it in our bodies. It's our choice to over abuse it.
Okay, and I want to iterate on that because, yes, it is our choice. And in doing so, you're not a pussy when you decide to make that choice.
Exactly.
So then
Exactly.
when you come into the program and you're like, oh, I'm a newcomer. Oh, my life sucks. Oh, which I get it. I've felt that way before, but I
Pity
didn't come
party.
in.
Yeah.
I didn't come in as a pussy. You know what I mean? Like I
Right.
did. I didn't say, "Oh my
Right.
God, they said meth, crack, and coke. What the fuck? Oh my Jesus, my life is over." Oh,
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. I was very much in that mindset when I first came into the rooms of recovery. But the biggest thing I have definitely learned is there is always someone out there that will be willing to help you if you're willing to help yourself.
right, right, and don't be sensitive in the program. You know what I mean? Don't be sensitive. Like don't be
If you
uptight.
get offended in this program, then this program's not for you.
Right, and the thing is this isn't any congregation. There's division and conflict and back and forth and all this exists in any kind of fellowship,
Mhm.
and even in this one quite often because there's so many meetings everywhere that there's too many chiefs and not enough Indians, sometimes, and that's not a good look on the newcomer. Yeah, because they are
Right.
fragile at times, but they shouldn't be sensitive. Fragile, yes. Sensitive, no. you know?
I get that. I get that, and that's a good point. Um, but more along the line of I relapsed. My most recent relapse was back in February. I relapsed February 2nd, 2025, and didn't come back to the rooms until May 9th of 2025
That's quite a journey, I
because I was
believe.
scared. I was scared. That's why. I was scared that I was going to be judged and not welcome back
And that's
because I
not
had
the
promised
case.
everybody I wouldn't do it again, and I broke
Yeah,
a promise.
you came in with shame, and a lot of us who have relapsed, I've relapsed. You said 4 times in a 10-year period. Mine was 4 times in months. Or something. Yeah, yeah, you know what I mean. And well, within a year. But like, yeah, I felt shamed. Yeah, I felt like shit. But I knew that I needed to be here. I know that there is something
and
better than myself, and I had to come here to try to correct um, my character
yep,
defects.
and it makes you humble yourself.
Very much.
The humility you get from it, and the humility you get from it, and the love that you feel from these rooms is what saved my life.
And you're such a powerful
Nobody
person.
gets, thank you. Nobody gets to where they are now without somebody being blunt and honest with them about what the fuck they're doing wrong.
Right, like for instance, if I'm working on, a lawnmower and I'm doing something wrong and some mechanic walks by and sees me and tells me how to correct it, well, I'm like, oh shit, thanks. Like
Right.
you need to accept it. You need
Same
to,
goes for recovery.
tough love, tough love, honest.
Tough love is a very big thing in recovery. Being honest and tough love.
And I want people to know that recovery is not always robotic. There
No,
are
it's not.
some groups that have a lot of liveliness into them, um, and
Oh
some
yeah.
of which I attend. Um, but, like, you know, people get scared because they're afraid that the clean life is going to suck. And they're afraid that their sponsor is going to be too
But it
strict.
doesn't.
Yeah, and they're going to say that their sponsor is going to be too strict and too this and too that. Well, if that sponsor is that for you, then that's not the right sponsor. You know what I mean? Also,
Exactly.
yeah.
You and your sponsor have to be able to mesh to where you guys can work steps together and all of that and actually be able to talk shit out. You can't hide anything from your sponsor. You have to be completely transparent in this program if
You
you
know,
want to better yourself.
one should picture their sponsor as a mirror.
Exactly. And that's what my sponsor is for me. She is my mirror. She's my rock. She holds me accountable when I forget to hold myself accountable sometimes, even when I don't think I did anything wrong.
And the chain goes up too. You have that sponsor, and your sponsor has a sponsor, and their sponsor has a sponsor, and it's
All
just
of our predecessors.
a chain of love, and it's one addict helping another. That's the importance of recovery, or it's just, let's say in general, one person helping another. That's what it's about.
Yes. Oh yeah. Uh,
You
but
know,
yeah, like it is just my whole life has basically just been unstable, like until now where I've got 3 job interviews lined up this week. I've been in college for almost 2 full years. This program has helped so much.
and when we relapse, we set ourselves back 5 steps. Yeah, you know what I mean? We move forward 2 and back 10. Yeah, sometimes.
Right,
And the only way for you to succeed in order to get these interviews is to stay clean. There's no other way. There's no other way. There's no fucking
right,
way if I was on crack, coke, or meth that I would even be sitting here.
right. I feel that. That's the same as if I was still doing dope or uh painkillers or drinking. I wouldn't be sitting here right now telling this story to help people. This is why I want to do this. I want to help people. I want them to know that they're not alone, that we're here for them.
And that goes with any of them. I mean, let's say 20 somethings that come into the fellowship, stuff like that. I think it's great that they're getting started early. Because recovery is not just for adults; it's for young adults as well. And
Yeah,
that's amazing to me, because they're getting a jump on their recovery more soon than I did, and their progress will be better by the time they're my age. And that's amazing.
right.
And then
I,
they be
I'm waiting. I'm literally, my goal is to at least hit a year again, at least for right now, short-term goal, and then hit two, and then three, and then so on and so forth.
progress, not perfection.
Exactly.
You
You just
know,
got to remember to stay humble in your program and work your steps and, do what you need to do um, to better yourself and take care of yourself. Always make sure that your recovery is number one.
amen. And Rome wasn't built overnight.
Yep, it won't happen overnight. It takes time. First 30 days was the hardest for me.
And a lot of work. Yes, the first 30 is shit.
Dude, dude. So within my first 30 days, I dealt with a lot of personal trauma that I'm really not going to get into on that one. Um, but I did it and I did it without using. And here I am now, almost 3 months later.
And strong and happy.
Exactly. Mhm.
And that's all I want to see anyone be is strong and happy. But ultimately it's us who limits us. The only one who limits us is us. If I sit here and tell myself I can't do it, I
Right.
can't do it, I can't do it, then I'm not going to do it.
It's our mindset. It's our mindset. We have to have a positive mindset in recovery if we want this to work for us.
We are our
At
own,
least that's me.
yeah, we are our own worst enemy.
Yeah. Like Pink's song says, don't let me get me. I'm my own worst enemy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is correct. And I was just saying, the other day um, that determination. When you start to do something, it becomes routine, and that you feel that if you miss it, then your routine's off. Like the determination turns into routine, which turns into your everyday life. And I do
Yes,
the
sir.
same with working out. I do the same with recovery. I do the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
do. I do get that. That's the same thing I do. Like when I work my step work, I sit in a quiet spot so I'm not distracted and I can actually get stuff done, to keep my mind off of everything. If I'm having a craving, I'll start cleaning the house just to get my mind off of it. Or I'll go for a walk and get my endorphins
same,
going.
same. You have to tell yourself, I have to do this.
Or I'll just pop on my headphones, put in some music, and I'll jam the fuck out. I'm just saying.
I mean, anything that sustains your recovery, anything that is positive. You know what
A
I mean?
positive coping mechanism is always needed.
And if there's a negativity in your life, weed it out, just like a garden.
Hmm.
And sometimes the universe has a good way of weeding
Definitely.
out our own garden. The universe could come in and say, that person's gone, that
Right.
person's gone, that person's gone.
Karmic energy.
But still,
That's karmic energy right
you
there.
grieve the loss of those companions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but in the long run, you realize that they weren't good for you anyways.
Correct.
And
Very
that's what
correct.
makes you stronger.
Absolutely. It hurts.
Like, very much so. Very much so. I've had to cut people off in my life that I was friends with for over 10 years that went through childhood, from childhood up until adulthood. And, a lot of them we did use together. And I finally just like a year ago cut off the last one because I was just so tired of it. I couldn't watch somebody kill themselves.
No, no. I lost two biological brothers to ODs. Um,
I can't say that I've lost anybody to an overdose like that, but I understand the pain because suicide is a very big curse in my family. Mental
Yes,
health is a very big curse in my
and as it is, I think, for a lot of addicts. And, they always say that, God won't give you more than you can handle, which I find to be complete bullshit. The reason I find it to be complete
family.
the reason I find it to be complete bullshit is because there is suicide. Suicide does exist. It's people feeling like
Yes,
they can't take it anymore.
and I've been one of those people before. Like when I was a teenager, I actually tried to overdose myself on pills and not come back because the bullying wasn't stopping and I couldn't get anybody to do anything. And I was jumped by 6 high school boys for my sexuality when I was a sophomore and they were seniors, right in
Jeez,
front of the office, and nobody did anything to stop it.
my God.
Yeah. So I've always been an outcast. I've always been the black sheep, but it's something I've come to accept because the black sheep people are the best, in my opinion.
And that's everyone in recovery. They're all black
Exactly.
sheeps. We're all black
This has
sheeps.
become, yep, this has become family to me, and that the people in these rooms are family to me now.
Well,
That
you've
is my
stated
family. The blood of the
that's your
covenant is thicker
everyday,
than the water of the womb.
right?
Yeah,
And you state that's your everyday. Like you only talk to people that are in recovery, and you're on your phone, and you're doing this and
that's
that and
a
the other.
positive influence of my life. I'm texting at least 60 people a day. My
And that's
phone is
what you
never dry
need.
anymore, and I'm thankful for that.
And that's what you need. Now, I'm not saying that, everybody has to text, 60 people a day. That's just good for you. You know what I mean? That's what works for you.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I
sometimes,
saw I was texting upwards of 60 people. Some people don't get a response just because I get distracted.
yeah. Well, I would expect so with 60 people.
Yeah, I've got a lot of people in my corner, so and that's the first time in my life that's ever happened. Because growing up, I was always told I would never amount to anything. I'm worthless. I'm just a piece of shit. My own mother told me at 12 years old she wished she would have aborted me and never had me in front of the judge, God, and everybody, while signing her rights away to me.
Well, karma's a bitch, but she's a just one.
Right. And karma will come back tenfold and get her. I
That's up
understand
to
that.
karma. That is up to karma.
I have forgiven her. I've forgiven her, but I'm doing myself. I'm doing better myself, and I'm doing everything I can to better myself.
So, when you say you forgive her, imagine that as like I imagine forgiving others, and most importantly yourself, is like, at first you're carrying a book bag full of bricks. And then as you go on,
Mhm.
you take one out and the book bag gets lighter. Then you take the other one out and the book bag gets lighter. That's forgiving people. It lightens your backpack. You know what I mean? It helps you.
Yeah, and as soon as I felt that, literally, it was just like this weight lifted off my shoulders, and I just felt better because I forgave her, even though if she doesn't talk to me, that's okay. I've still forgiven her for what she's done to me.
Correct. And that weight on your
It's
shoulders
all
just.
about keeping your side of the straight thing.
Right. Yeah, and only your side. We're not in control. I'm not in control of your side. You're not in control of my side. It's up to me to, like you said, you got to clean your own street.
Your bullshit is not my bullshit. My bullshit is not your bullshit.
And too often, sometimes it becomes bullshit when everyone gets involved in other people's bullshit. you know?
Right. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Right. But it doesn't have to be our recovery. That we don't have to be involved in that. That's up to us again, a choice on whether or not we decide to engage in actions like that.
Pick and choose your battles while you're in recovery because you never know what one could cause you to lead you to relapse.
In the end, all you got is you.
Yep. That's the crazy part. In the end, you have to have your back. You have to set your own boundaries. You have to be able to say, no, I am not going to allow you to do this to me anymore, or at all, because I treat myself like complete dog shit when I talk to myself sometimes. Don't get me wrong, but I would never allow someone to talk to me like I talk to myself.
But in knowing that, you know your character defect and what you have to work on.
Yep, I know I have quite a few that I need to work on.
And you only
And
discovered that by
I'm already
doing what?
starting to work on them
You're
by doing my
discovering your
12-step
character.
program,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
by doing my by doing my 12-step program.
Correct. The steps. That's how you face your character defects. Um, and it's a great foundation for anybody, and as is religion for others. Um, but it's up to us ultimately, and I'm
It
proud of
really
you.
is. It
I'm
really
pr-
is.
I'm proud of you. I've seen a change.
Thank
Um,
you. That
and
makes
and
me happy.
well, yeah, because we are human ultimately, and who am I to say, well, hey, you're not doing this right and that right and the other. Again,
Right.
your own street. I am no one to take your moral inventory. All I can tell you is how great I think you are.
The moral inventory scares the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. We can take our own moral inventory, but others, it's not up to us to take their moral inventory.
Right, right,
I'm nor judge or jury.
right. Neither am I. It's not my place to judge you. I'm only here to accept you as you are and help you and guide you if you need it.
And that's fantastic. And that's the purpose of the program of recovery is just that.
Exactly.
And
It's one of
and
the
so
biggest things I've learned.
yeah, yeah, and definitely hearing other people's stories, shares, that in itself humbles you because you always have to think to yourself that it can always be worse.
There's always someone out there that has it worse than you do. You
For
just
sure.
have to be able to keep a mindset of, I can freaking do this.
Like
I
now,
got this. I got
now,
me.
now each newcomer coming in has it worse than I do.
Technically, yes, because they're first starting their recovery journey. But with that, all we can do is accept them with open arms and show them the love that we were shown when we first came into this journey by our predecessors.
And the correct group of people by our choosing.
Exactly.
I mean, Zoom is full of these recovery meetings, and it's like choosing a restaurant. You know what I mean? Like, oh
Yeah,
well, this food sucks. I'm not coming back here. And then you find another one, and it's like, oh my god, this is the best food I've ever tasted.
right. And that's like with you getting clean. It takes 6 months to a year for your brain to fully go back to normal after you've been on substances for so long. Um, your food tastes better, you know, everything smells better, your smell comes back, your senses come back. It's crazy. Food actually tastes good to me now.
And same, I've noticed that as well. And also I am very humbled when I eat because um, there were times where I didn't have much, and then there were times where I was in jail, and that food is
I've,
ass. And people always ask me,
I've heard.
people ask me like, "What do you think? What do you think of my food?" And I'm like, "Well, anything's better than jail food."
Right, right. Thankfully, I have never been in jail, but I have heard a lot of stories about jail.
Yeah,
I've been
anything's
put in
better than that.
handcuffs. I've been put in handcuffs and detained on a sidewalk just for my safety, but I've never actually been booked into the system.
Yeah, well, you're fortunate for that.
I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed.
Yeah, and that's the thing is when I eat, like I said, I now when I take a bite of something, I just enjoy it.
Right. You savor the moment.
Yeah,
You cherish the little things now. It's all about the small things that you took for granted in addiction.
correct. Lie and chill, or lie, steal, and cheat our way through life.
Yeah. Because the only way out of this is either recovery or jails, institutions, and death. Oh my.
And that's exactly right. And people are like, no, I doubt that. There's no way. But yes, that is exactly how it ends. That is exactly
Yeah.
how it ends.
Yep. That is exactly how it ends. It'll either end in death, or you'll end up in prison, or you'll end up in an institution. And
Or your ass
nine
beat.
times out of 10, yeah, yeah, me too. Uh, like 9 times out of 10, the people I've met, it ends in death, unfortunately, and it's a sad fact of life.
But you're working through all that.
Oh yeah.
And you're coming out with a better understanding. And I always tell people that, you've got to go through the storm in order to see the beautiful clearing in the end.
It's a beautiful rainbow at the end of the storm. Yep. I completely understand that. Do you have any more questions for me?
Um, excuse me. Um, yes, actually, an ending. We only have what 10 minutes left or so. But
Yeah.
but I do have another question. Because we're gonna end this on a lighter note of things. Tell me one of the most funniest experiences you've had in life, like one of the most funniest experiences that pop up to you. That helps you feel good at times when you think about it.
So there was a Christmas when I was a kid. Every year I have a huge family on my dad's side of the family. Huge. Like we have to have our Christmases in the 3-car garage. Huge. Because there's tons of presents. There's no room for everybody inside the house. Well, one night when we were opening presents, my family is big into playing pool. I love playing pool. My dad got me my very first pool stick, and he played a prank on me. And to this day, I will never forget it. He wrapped it in 2 rolls of wrapping paper and then took 2 or 3 rolls of duct tape and put it on top of that. So obviously, I couldn't tell what it was, and I couldn't get it open. So I had to ask him. I was like, "Can I have your knife, please? I cannot open this to save my life." And I'm 16 and I'm sitting there looking at him like, "Are you fucking kidding me, dude?
I bet you got a
Is this how
crack
we're
out of
gonna do
that
this?
though, right? You
Just
got to.
wait. Just wait." He did. He was rolling and I was laughing too. Don't get me wrong. Everybody was laughing. And I'm like, "Just wait till your birthday. Just wait." That's how we did it growing up. Like we would always play pranks on each other for each other's birthdays, Christmases. Like there was also one year, same year, for my birthday, he gives me this wrapped up shoebox, and I'm thinking there's something good in it, right? It's heavy. I open it, and there's a rock with a note that says, "I owe you one birthday present." And I'm like, "What?" And I start laughing and I'm like, what is this supposed to be? He's like, hold on, hold on. He's like, just close your eyes. I closed my eyes and he was like, open them now. And he in front of me, he held up a first generation hot pink Nintendo DS
Wow.
that he had gotten me for my birthday. So that's just how my family was growing up. We liked to play pranks on each other,
That's
especially when it
hilarious.
came to gifts.
My
Like my brother bubble wrapped and duct taped and made a sailboat out of it somehow, and it worked. It fucking worked.
yeah.
Physics, I don't
My
fucking know.
twin and I, and I have a little brother. We used to play tricks and pranks on each other all the time, and do stupid shit. And one of my funniest moments that I'll never forget, that just puts a fucking smile on my face every time I think about it, is we were teenagers, and this is way before I started hormones. But we were teenagers, and I was walking up the stairs into the bedroom, and I see my brother on the bed, bent over, ass towards the door with a lighter in his hand. And I shit you not,
Oh no, I know where this is going.
I caught it when he farted, and the flame went. But
Oh no!
but listen, he didn't understand science at the time, and I loved science, and I always loved science, and he didn't understand that when you light methane, that the gas is going to follow back into the source of which it came. And it sucked back in, and he jumped like, oh my God. Oh.
Oh my God!
He did.
Yeah, I would have been dying laughing too, but then I would have been like, "Are you okay?"
I was just like, you stupid, bro. Like,
Well, yeah, I would have been saying that too, but I would be like, "Are you at least okay? Do you need a hospital?"
I could tell he was okay. If not, he would have been in excruciating pain. But, like, I just got a kick out of it. But he got me
That's
back.
funny. That
He
is
got me
so
back. I'll
funny.
tell you one more incident. He got me back because, and this was no doing of his own, it just, he happened to catch me doing something fucked up too. So, I used to work on BMX. I did BMX dirt and shit, and I was working on my bike, and I tightened everything, or at least thought I did, and went going down the road. And I decided I was going to pop a wheelie, but right when I did, my brother's walking around the corner of the street, and I'm doing this wheelie, and as I'm doing this wheelie, my fucking tire falls and bounces on the ground as I'm in the air with this wheelie, and I come down and land on my forks and flip over. And my
Oh,
and my twin's like,
oh,
"Oh, you fucking dumbass! Like that was stupid as fuck." I was like, "I didn't know. I didn't tighten it." Like, so he
yeah,
just sees
I've
the
done that before.
tire.
I used to do BMX and I used to longboard, so I get that.
Yeah, he just saw the tire go boop 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 boop. But anyway,
I wouldn't have even been laughing at that point. I would have been making sure you're okay.
I got up. My dad taught us to walk it off. So
Get up, dust it off, you're tough.
walk it off. But anyway, I thank you so much for your time, Gate. And I know, like, at the beginning we kind of were like a little slow into it, but I think this has turned out to be a pretty good interview. And you're welcome to interview any other time that you want. As things progress in your life, we'll follow up. That kind of thing. But I appreciate you being a part of this process, because I think that
I
it'll
appreciate you letting me.
I think it'll go somewhere eventually, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to help other people, and I've heard that it does, and I wanted to continue to do so. And again, I thank you for being a part of that. Even if our interview was,
Thank you for letting me.
huh?
All over the place.
Yeah, but that's okay,
Even
if
if the interview was all over the place.
right, but
The
that's
story's
okay.
still out there and the message is still there.
Right, and any way I can capture anyone's story, whether it's plotted out or all over the place, it's like you just said, it's still a story,
Right, right.
and that
Thank
stuff
you so much
affects
for allowing me.
your everyday life, and that's why you're in recovery. And again, I'm proud of you, and I love you, and
I love you too, and
I'll see you in and out of the meetings. So all I ask is that you keep a smile on your face, you let it shine brighter than the sun, and you stay clean. I mean, love
yes,
you so
ma'am,
much.
always.
Uh, yeah, and we're
Love you
ending
too.
now in 3, 2, 1, wherever I can find the leave button, and goodbye.